Good morning, welcome to JALI. My name is Luciana Souza, and the title of my research is Pre-Service Teachers' Perceptions Toward Accented Identity in Line of English as a Língua Franca. I hope you enjoy it. The title, my advisor is Professor André Diniz, my email, so let's start. So I chose this theme because I wanted to understand deeper the relationship between accent and identity, because I, as a non-native English speaker, have felt a high pressure to sound like a native. And also, I wanted to understand the reasons and the importance of keeping my accent. So my studies led me to two research questions, which are: how do pre-service teachers perceive a link between the accents in the second language and their identity? And what perceptions do pre-service teachers hold toward English as a língua franca? So in order to answer these questions, I established three objectives. The first is to find out how English pre-service teachers perceive their role as a non-native English teacher, and to analyze the perceptions in learning teaching that foreign language, and the relationship between identity and accent and its importance, as well as pre-service teachers' ideas on intelligibility in the communication process. About the first topic of my research, that is English as a língua franca, which is the use of English as being a common language of choice among people who doesn't share the same mother tongue. The main purpose of ELF is to make communication possible where both native and non-native are included and valued. So it also can be defined as a democratic English that consider intelligibility and comprehension as priority, instead of the dangerous conceptions of native speakerism. The native speakerism is the belief that there is the only one way to speak, only one correct way, only one standard to speak English. And it can be very, very dangerous because it can bring emotional insecurity, like embarrassment, especially for non-native English speakers, because if they compare themselves with native speakers, it can affect their self-esteem if they can feel lesser about the accents. But what is accent? In linguistic terms, accent is a trait of social identity which highlights the difference between peoples and cultures. Faust says that there is a strong relationship between accent and identity, in a way that if you lose your native accent, you lose part of your identity. In this current status of English as international language, teaching pronunciation aims to help learners to achieve intelligible pronunciation. So according to the dictionary of Richards and Smith, pronunciation can be defined as the way a certain sound or sounds are produced. Godwin defines intelligibility as spoken English in which an accent, if present, is not distracting to the listener. So the emergence of English with a global presence has significant consequences for teaching and learning English. So the ELF aims to reformulate some paradigms, that, like the idea that the American and British standards are the perfect model for foreign learners, and also the idea that the best teachers are from those countries. So about that, Jenks affirms that in this new reality, in the ELF reality, students need to learn about the varieties of English. They need to learn about their similarities and differences, about the issues involving intelligibility, as well as the strong link between language and identity. So about my research, I interviewed 3 reservist teachers from the last year of the English teaching program at UEPA in order to get their perceptions about accent, identity, intelligibility, and the role of native speaker. They were invited because they have experience inside classrooms as trainees. So for anonymity's sake, I will call them as teacher 1, teacher 2, and teacher 3. So for this presentation, I selected the main answers then about the issues mentioned before. So when I asked them about what is fluency, teacher 2 said that be fluent is understand and be understood others English speaker. It's to know how to communicate. Teacher 3 added that you don't need to know everything to be fluent. You don't need to master all skills to be fluent. In few words, students must be understood by the way he or she speaks in interaction, even if it's with an accent and foreign traits. When I asked them about their self-perceptions about being a non-native English teacher, and if somehow can be considered a disadvantage, teacher 1 commented that it's even an advantage to be a non-native teacher, because we are able to identify some errors that are brought into second language based on the student's mother tongue. And it's also a good opportunity to show students in English as a lingua franca. So it's a language that everyone can learn. Regarding the role of native speaker, all reservist teachers criticize the idea of considering native speaker as the perfect model for teaching English. For them, both native and non-native should be included and valued. So they criticize this idea of native speakerism. Teacher 1 affirms that speak like a native does not should be our bigger goal. The last question asked if they can perceive a link between accent and identity in a second language. So teacher 1, they all answered that yes, there is a strong relationship between accent and identity. So in teacher 1 words, he say that accent is normal and it's something that identifies people's origin. So in teacher 2 words, the accent is part of the region where the student is located. So of course, he carries some of the culture he comes from. So then there is a strong relationship between. To sum up, we can conclude that reservist teachers are awareness about the issues of English as a lingua franca. For them, there is no reason to be ashamed of our accent because everybody has accent. It's a part of our identity. And they also able to criticize native ideas in English teaching. They don't share the idea that you should teach only the American and British standard. So they agree that it's very important to expose students to English varieties. It's necessary to go beyond the American and British standard, as well as it's important to create opportunities for participants to self-value and recognize themselves as intercultural speakers in order to get the confidence of students. I believe that is it. Thank you.